Hey, what's happening, y'all? I just wanted to do a follow up video on the on my announcement on the Brook and Gennady Golovkin fight, which is going to take place on September 10th at the O2 Arena in London, England. Which Golovkin will be doing some traveling, and he'll be in Brook's backyard. And the fight will be broadcast on Sky Sports Office on pay-per-view. Oh, excuse me, I'm butchering that. Sky Sports Box Office on pay-per-view in the UK, and HBO World Boxing Championship here in the US, which is a non-pay-per-view event. Now, before I start this video, I have to say that I got to give my hats off to the individuals that I've talked to offline, and they are huge Gennady Golovkin fans, and they're friends of mine. And they have openly admitted that, they do not like this fight at all. They hate this fight, that Gennady Golovkin versus Brook. And they've also admitted these are the same individuals who have extremely ridiculed the Canelo Khan fight, particularly Canelo Alvarez for fighting Amir Khan, a smaller guy. And they have openly admitted that, you know what, since I've ridiculed him, I'm just only saying this for verbatim. Since I've ridiculed Canelo Alvarez for fighting Amir Khan, I have to do the same for Gennady Golovkin. I just can't. There's no way I can justify this. And I have to commend those individuals for, standing on their principles there. Okay, they're showing consistency. And me personally, I don't have a problem with this fight because I've said many occasions that middleweights have fought welterweights historically. This is the best fight that's have to offer. Oh, no, it's not the best fight that Gennady Golovkin has to offer. No, it's not. And I'll explain the reason it's not, but I don't have a problem with this fight at the same time. However, I am somewhat very disappointed with those individuals who are on the YTBC who have ridiculed Canelo Alvarez for fighting Amir Khan, who have also ridiculed Bernard Hopkins for over a year now, and ridiculed his middleweight legacy because he fought Felix Trinidad and Oscar De La Hoya, small guys who are coming up from the lower weight classes, who are Hall of Famers, by the way. So before I get into that, I gotta touch up on the Chris Eubank situation, why that fight fell through with him and Gennady Golovkin. Now, Chris Eubank Jr. has no part on the negotiation table. We all know that Chris Eubank Sr. is the guy that handles the negotiation process. Now, from what I've learned, Chris Eubank Sr. was being a diva in the negotiation process, and this should be no surprise to anyone because he is notorious for being very, very devious, when it comes to discussing this purse split and the shares, etc., etc. From my understanding, Chris Eubank wanted a lot from the Golovkin fight, aka pricing himself out for his son. He not only wanted the biggest purse split, he wanted the big, I don't want to say the biggest purse split. He actually wanted a bigger purse. For one, number two, he wanted a split in the pay-per-view shares from Sky Sports, and three, he wanted share splits from other revenue venues and whatnot. So, needless to say, that he's the reason why Chris Eubank Jr. is not fighting Gennady Golovkin. And as much as I respect Chris Eubank Sr., he has to understand that his son is not a marquee name. Oh no. He's only fought one individual on the world level, which is Billy Joe Saunders, which he lost on a narrow split decision. He hasn't beaten anyone on a world level. He's fought nothing but a heap of domestic level opposition. So he has no room to negotiate for a high price tag for his son. Now, I understand that he's in a position where he can say, you know what, I've been screwed as a fighter. In my time as a fighter, I've been screwed in my contract, so I'm not going to let that happen to my son. I understand that argument, but you have to understand that your son is in no position to argue for that such of a split and other demands. You're in no position to argue that case for him because he doesn't have a resume to show for that. So, with that said, Eddie Hearn pretty much stuck it to the Eubanks for making this fight. And the reason why he did that is because he's saying, look, indirectly he's saying to the Eubanks, he sent the message. He said, look, this is the best you can get. This is a very lucrative contract, and I don't understand why you don't want to sign this. But since you're not going to sign this contract, I'll get somebody who will, and that's Brook. So the Eubanks have to be very, very fuming, not fuming. They have to be very fuming about this. They're very upset. And yes, Crispy Eubank Jr. had went, publicly and ridiculed this fight between Gennady Golovkin and Kell Brook being made. So, yeah. Now, moving on here to the individuals who are ridiculing Bernard Hopkins' middleweight run and Canelo Alvarez for fighting a small guy like Amir Khan. All I have to say is I'm very disappointed in you guys because you have failed to show your consistency. Okay, I heard one guy who's who's vehemently supporting Gennady Golovkin. He came out and he said, "Look, I don't like this fight, but I can understand why this fight is being made." He said, one, the super middleweights are occupied right now. Gilberto Ramirez is injured, which he doesn't know that Gilberto Ramirez, even if he wasn't injured, he was already set up to fight someone, so he wouldn't have been an option anyway. And he also said that James DeGale and Badu Jack are in for a unification bout, and the middleweights won't fight him. And I find it quite ironic, I should say, that he left out the 154 division. He left those guys out. Well, he mentioned Demetrius Andrade. He's like, well, Demetrius Andrade said that he wants to fight Golovkin, but he wants to take on, many other fights, et cetera, et cetera. I kind of find that funny because coming from him, who's made this remark in his video, because he's a guy who's been running around, arguing the case that Gennady Golovkin should not be fighting super middleweights. But yet he's saying that, well, he can't fight a super middleweight, so this is the reason why he's fighting Kell Brook. I find that kind of ironic. But since you're going to make that argument, why not the Durrell brothers, Andre and Anthony? They're available. They don't have a fight scheduled, so that fight could have been made. And why not Erislandy Lara? Oh, yes, Erislandy Lara. Why do I say Erislandy Lara? Because Erislandy Lara called out Golovkin again. But this time, you can't point out the fact that he called him at a strange time. Such as Erislandy Lara had called out Gennady Golovkin, days before he scheduled to fight, or after he scheduled to fight someone else, or leading up to a fight, I should say. But this time around, Erislandy Lara had actually called out Gennady Golovkin in a situation where he is not scheduled to fight anyone right now. He doesn't have a fight scheduled. So why could not Gennady Golovkin and his team sought out the Durrell brothers or Erislandy Lara? Again, because they're the ones who called out the 154 and 168 divisions. But, oh no, they decided to go after to fight Kell Brook. Now, this is pretty much borderline cherry pick. There's no other way to describe it, And then this guy, there's other people who are also saying that, well, this fight with Kell Brook is understandable because Kell Brook has a better chin than Amir Khan. Now, as soon as I heard that, I really laughed my ass off and I fell to the floor when I heard that comment. Because first things first, shinny or not, Amir Khan has a much better resume than Kell Brook. Amir Khan has fought way better opposition than Kell Brook. Amir Khan has beaten far better opposition than Kell Brook. And yet, they still ridiculed Canelo Alvarez for fighting Amir Khan. Oh no, you guys are not getting away with this one. I'm sorry, you can't. This has gone out the window because now your guy is fighting a guy who's in the welterweight division. Yeah, you can say he's the IBF champion, he's undefeated, but he doesn't have a great resume. He has a very weak resume. His greatest win on his record is against Sean Porter. And yet, here you are, again, I have to repeat myself, you ridicule Bernard Hopkins for fighting Felix Trinidad and Oscar De La Hoya, who are Hall of Famers. And you ridiculed him because this is the only way you could propagate Golovkin's middleweight run as far superior than Bernard Hopkins, which I find very laughable. So now that's thrown out the window. There's no running away from this now. And again, I'm very disappointed in you guys that you're not showing consistency. You're clearly showing your bias, and you're trying to find another way to justify this Kell Brook fight. You can't use the money argument as an excuse. Yes, it's a big money fight, but you didn't give Canelo Alvarez the benefit of the doubt because that was a big money fight when he fought Amir Khan. I'm sorry. There's no other way to getting around this. This is hypocrisy at best. Double standard. So once again, I'm very disappointed at you. I keep repeating myself. But again, I'm looking forward to this fight. I have no problem with this fight. So that's all I have to say, y'all. I'm out.